So what would you say is the biggest obstacle that high performers face, either in business or in sports?
Well, assuming they're technically proficient already.
Yeah.
So I'm talking at high level of technique. So all things being equal, two athletes or high performers who are on the same technical level, then it's all the internal stuff, the mind, which is the less tangible. The mind, the emotions, the inside world gets in the way of the outside results. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that play more of a part of how they train and how they develop the technical skill?
It should. Unfortunately, it doesn't always. That's where I come in.
Right.
Yeah. If it had, they probably don't need me, because it would have been part of their training. But for a lot, it's not part of their training. They focus so much on the technical side. They focus on the doing, not on the being. The real champions, there's a quality of being that they have, and you notice it when you meet them. There's just something about them, and that they've developed. It's not easy. They've developed either by chance, somehow, they just were in the right space at the right time and they didn't even know they were developing it, or by design. So I say it should be developed by design. It should be part of any athlete or any top business, any leaders or athletes program should have it in there, woven in. Does that make sense, Ryan? Yeah?
What do you mean by being?
So the being side is what you bring to the game from within yourself. So some people bring their concerns, complaint, emotional instability, mental lack of focus, low self-esteem, all that stuff, that gets in the way of winning. So take low self-esteem, for instance. A lot of people are looking to their next win to feel good about themselves. And they know deep down in their mind that if they don't win, they're going to feel terrible. So now the winning isn't about winning, the winning is about protecting feeling terrible. That's not a good game to play.
Right.
Yeah? Because now they're defending, it's all about their internal instability, which is now on the pitch, as opposed to art for art's sake. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are very vulnerable, and of course, at that level, it's harder to see it, but they know it. They know it, and that's, you could say, if you like, the ego is driving the game, not the talent, not the free individual, not the open, fully expanded mind. There's something in the way called, I need to win this to get my own approval. This is childhood programming stuff.
Can that insecurity drive success?
It can, and it often does.
Right.
It drives success, but not fulfillment. Right? Now, athletes who have success, but not fulfillment, they'll be good, they might be great, not for long. Something will trip them up. Right? Often, interestingly, it's what do they call it now? The fraud syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Everybody thinks I'm this great champion, but I don't feel it myself. Right? So they might get all the scores, they might get all the gold medals, etc., but they won't be a happy camper at the end of the day. Now I've worked with that. I've worked with past champions, great international heroes, who later on, after their career, they don't feel good. They feel inferior, and nothing out there can make them feel good anymore. So they're miserable. Yeah. So to be putting yourself through such hardship, physically, emotionally, mentally, and come out of it, with your medals, but the medals only last for so long, but come out of it miserable, this is very, very sad. So he who shows up joyful, all things being equal, has a greater chance of winning.
Right.
Long term at least. Yeah. Anger and fear and all that does drive stuff, there's no doubt about it. But sooner or later you've got to be able to upgrade, transform that anger so that you feel good about yourself, you're whole and complete about yourself.
And obviously, I suppose, if you're considering a career after sports and you've got the fulfillment already in you, you're not becoming dependent on...
Yeah.
It's interesting, I was listening to an interview with Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And how he says now that he stays away from training at all.
Yeah.
Because it breeds a kind of ego. And,
yes.
he says, I don't train, I don't go to the gym anymore. If I do gentle exercises, but I don't get into the fight mentality because my ego comes out, and that caused a lot of pain.
That's right, because he didn't have his ego under check. at the time. You know, great fighters, their ego. You know, you go. I'm inspired by the fighters of the East because they have a very strong philosophy they're born into. For instance, Shaolin monks. They're Buddhist monks first and foremost, not fighters. So they've got the being side I was mentioning. They've got their mind and their head screwed on properly. They've got the horse before the cart. Yeah. So first and foremost, they're about love and compassion and peace, internally, as well as externally, and they become great fighters. Yeah? So they're not looking to win the fight to feel good about themselves. They already feel fantastic about themselves, and they bring that to the skill of fighting, to the art of calligraphy, to flower arranging, to cooking, or whatever it might be. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but there are so many examples, and all you have to do is turn on the TV and watch the footballer miss the penalty, and we all know that that footballer is cooked for the next 4 months. He's missed the penalty that lost the Premiership team or even the national team, lost them the match, yeah, and now he's going to be swimming in his head because he has no coping mechanism for that, because his identity is now based on you screwed up.
And what kind of procedures or processes do you see sports people trying to use to address that kind of mental anguish, if anything at all?
Well, they come to people like me. Also, the mindfulness movement recently. Yeah, I see athletes using apps and things like this to try and calm their mind down. This is all very good, but I still say it's too little. You know, we see this as something extra to do. It should be at the core of what we're doing. Absolutely at the core, so that your self-confidence is unshakable. You have the ability to bounce back from defeat instantly. You reframe it instantly. You are competing against your ultimate potential, not always against other people, because you can't control that, but you can control your potential. So that's the inside game, inside out. You know, like Jack Nicklaus said to the young man who was practicing his swing at the beginning of the massive tournament in Georgia or wherever it was. Jack Nicklaus was the young man's hero, and so he saw Jack Nicklaus walk by. He came up to him and said, "Oh, Mr. Nicklaus, I'm your greatest fan. You know, I've had your posters in my room since I was a little boy. I got into golf thanks to you, and here I am today at the big Open, the competition." And he said, "Oh, fantastic, son. You're going to love it. This is the best competition in the world. This is the place to be. Great. Have a great day. Just relax and enjoy yourself." And I said, "Oh, thank you," and he signed the thing. And then Jack Nicklaus walks off, but then he stops, a bit like Columbo style. He turns around and says, "Oh, one more thing, son. What were you doing a few moments ago, just before I walked up?" He said, "Oh, I was practicing my swing." He said, "Son, let me tell you this. If you didn't bring it with you, you ain't going to find it here today." And that is with confidence. Yeah, the same applies to your self-confidence. The same applies to your ability to focus, to concentrate. I'm practicing on focusing and concentrating, except for now, we're obviously in this thing, so I'm doing both. But cooking is a great way to get really present and to focus and to concentrate and to apply your love and your care and your imagination, your creativity to a task, and to do it with a level of impeccability. Now, if I can practice that here, I can take that to the golf course. I can take that to the swimming pool. I can take that to the shooting range. I can take that to the tennis court, right? Because I'm training my mind to be focused, still, calm, open, and present. And I think you could talk to any top athlete. If you ask them, will it help you to get to the next level of an open, calm, present, concentrated and focused mind, they will all say categorically, absolutely yes, no matter what sport they're in. So practice it everywhere.
Got it.
Yeah. Most of us are not present. We're cooking, we're on the phone, we're doing this, we're doing that, yeah, or we don't even cook.
Yeah.
You know, we just gobble some food down fast. We're not present to eating, we're not present to drinking. These are primordial things that all beings on earth do. And a bird, it's its major occupation all day long. A tiger, it's its major occupation all day long. A rat, it's its major occupation all day long. Finding food and eating that food and digesting that food. Yet we don't do it. So our minds are not used to being focused on the essential. It's what I call putting the horse before the cart. And so we want to get really good at football, but we haven't got good at being powerful in our own right.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.